Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. And today we're going to do a preview of week 3 of the NFL. And Maddie, it's already been getting crazy, but we quickly going to review what happened on Monday night, Packers, Detroit. And it turned out kind of like I thought it would.
Yeah, I mean, if moral victories do exist in sport, it's been a big talk on Undisputed recently, but if moral victories do exist in sport, then I think the Lions can take a moral victory from that one. They look good up in the first half. Like, they've established their way of football. They know how they should play. Apologies to anybody seeing us like if you just want to listen to the audio of this, then we have it on Spotify and all of that kind of stuff as well. But they do have a moral victory in the way that they played. They've established their culture. They played really well. Green Bay looked like they started to connect again. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams connecting for a lot of yards, which was good for me on fantasy at least. Yeah, looking like they kind of got the motor running on their season, Green Bay, in the second half.
Yeah, and it just was one of those things. It's like as soon as Green Bay went up 2 scores, you knew it was over for Detroit because Goff and that offense aren't going to throw themselves back into a game against Aaron Rodgers and that offense. But the Packers did exactly what they needed to do. Otherwise, probably unjustifiably, justifiably, they would get crushed this week. And you would hear Aaron Rodgers didn't care. I even heard a ridiculous statement. I read it online that somebody put Aaron Rodgers didn't care until that onion throw.
Yeah, it's weird. The whole Aaron Rodgers doesn't care thing, I don't think that's it. I think he's had so much go over his offseason that he's not really had an offseason, like just not thinking about football. And then obviously it's difficult when you're probably not going to be at a place next year to then give your full wholehearted commitment. Subconsciously, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is consciously making decisions that he doesn't care. But in your subconscious, it's difficult to fully commit, put your body on the line behind an offensive line that's a bit shaky, that kind of stuff. Detroit's offensive line look really good, but Green Bay look like they're able to run the football now, and I'm sure that'll take them well into their game this week against the 49ers, who are definitely going to run the football on them.
Yeah, I think this is a big week for both teams. We all know that the 49ers lately have kind of been Green Bay's kryptonite, and I got Green Bay winning.
I've got the 49ers winning. I think after seeing Detroit in the first half run the ball so successfully, if you then take the fact that the 49ers running game is just so much better, so much more effective, then it's going to be difficult for the Packers if they can't stop the run.
What it boils down to for me is that the 49ers are going to have to outscore the Packers because Aaron Rodgers is still pissed off. If you watched any of his interviews this week or anything like that, Rodgers is still pissed off. And as a Vikings fan, I will tell you one of the scariest things in football is a pissed off Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, 100%. As a Cowboys fan, I can go for that as well. He's done plenty of stuff when he's been chatted shit about, and then comes to AT&T and then just lights it up. I just the 49ers defense is better than it's been showing in the season. Obviously, conceding that many points to Detroit Lions and then is not good. But the Eagles didn't score that many points on them, and they put loads of points on the Falcons the week before. I don't know. I think the ability to run the football keeps a pissed off Aaron Rodgers off the pitch. And if Detroit are able to run the football, and Detroit have a good running game, good offensive lineman, that's what they're going to build themselves on. But the 49ers are so much more dangerous when they're running the football, because then they can run the football in a million different ways, or they then have a down the field threat as well. And in Brendan Ayuk and players like that, they're able to run the football. And the Green Bay have had a problem with stopping the run for quite a few seasons now, especially last season and this season. So the 49ers is a bad matchup for them. I can see, and I still don't think they're totally over the hangover of their offseason.
Yeah, see, and I still don't believe it's an off-season hangover. That's probably where we differ. I just think they had a bad game, and it happens. Yeah.
I could see it going either way. Like, it's a 50-50 kind of game for me.
It's a great Sunday night game, and I think the 49ers have to score more than 30 to have a chance.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough look at the game. I worry with the 49ers pass rush, the Green Bay O-line isn't incredible. And then the running game keeps Aaron Rodgers off the field so much. So Aaron goes in having to make plays, which is something that he's very accustomed to. So that's not a big worry for him. But he's feeling he has to make plays. He has to sit in the pocket for ages. And then Bosa's coming off the edge, trying to take his head off where there's an offensive line that isn't incredible.
I just thought about this right now, and it has zero to do with my pick. But I almost wonder, too, if at some point Jimmy Garoppolo throws a pick or two and then he starts feeling breath on the back of his neck from Trey Lance, how that makes it go. But that was just a random thought that I just had right now. Anyway,
I think that's a great point. I think they'll have Trey Lance in this game because they'll be looking to just run this football. They'll just they're going to run the rock on the Sunday night. That's how they're going to even attempt to win this game. And I think they'll do it successfully. 49ers is my pick.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say on it is if I'm Green Bay, I put 8-9 in the box and tell Jimmy Garoppolo, you have to beat me. You have to outshoot Aaron Rodgers. That's just me, pretty much. Right? So on to your NFC East. Big rivalry game for you guys, Eagles-Cowboys.
Yeah, we should blow them off the park, really. I'll be upset if that game's even close.
See, I got it close just because it's a rivalry game, but I do have you guys winning.
Yeah.
And I think you guys pull away in the fourth quarter. But I think up until fourth quarter, it's a close game.
Yeah, I'll be upset if it's close, but I won't be surprised if it's close. The Cowboys have played well enough to show that they're good and that they're good enough to win the NFC East this season. They can attack in several different ways. They've completely switched game plans from week 1 to week 2. So whichever look the Eagles give them, and the Eagles roster for me isn't good enough to kind of cover all aspects of the field. So you have to kind of pick one way to beat them, and then the Cowboys can just go the other way, is how their offense looks. Their defense is obviously a concern for me, but they lead the league in takeaways, which is something that the Cowboys haven't been. I saw a really cool stat. So Trayvon Diggs has played 17 games for the Cowboys and has got 5 picks, whereas Byron Jones, who was our number one cornerback a couple of seasons ago, has played 78 games for the Dallas Cowboys and got 2 picks. So it's something very, very new for us to be able to take the ball away. And we still are garbage at giving yards away, but our red zone defenses look really good. And everybody's talking about how amazing Jalen Hurts is, but you'd be upset if your quarterback didn't put yards on the Atlanta Falcons team, and then he only had a 52% passing completion rate against San Francisco, who are an amazing defense as well. And he's going to have a lot of yards against us, but I'm not sure how many points he'll come away with.
Well, I don't disagree with anything you said. And just to add on to that, my reason for picking the Cowboys twofold. One, I just don't think they have the weapons to beat them. And two, as big a fan in college as I am in Jalen Hurts and how he did it the right way and everything he went through in college, I'm still not sold on him. I'm hoping okay, let's be honest. I do not like the Eagles. You would almost think I'm an NFC East fan the way I do not like the Eagles. But I'm a fan of Jalen Hurts, but I don't know if he'll be any good at all. And that's the thing.
I kind of like Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I think he's done well in the situation that he was thrown into. It's just he's not good enough to go against a team that are going to put a decent amount of points on you. As long as if the Cowboys defense plays as well and the pass rush goes as well as it did against the Chargers and Tampa Bay, they'll be fine. But you don't know with the defense because one day it can just fall apart and nobody, anyone. And there was plenty of times where nobody was covering anybody in that Chargers game. But with the way that the defensive line looks like it's playing in that front seven area, looks like it's gelling together really well now. They're getting pressure on quarterbacks. It's not necessarily turning into sacks because they've played two of the best quarterbacks in the league in terms of getting the ball out of their hand when they need to. But against Philly, against Jalen Hurts, who holds onto the ball a little, tries to make plays, I think they'll come up with big plays, big sacks, and then they're taking the ball away at the minute. And I don't care what people are saying the reason is that they're taking the ball away at the minute. They're taking the ball away, which gives our offense more time on the field, which is where you don't want our offense to be because they can attack you in any way that they want.
Well, two quick things. John Gruden always said it takes 9 defensive touchdowns a year to win a Super Bowl. I don't know where he came up with that number, but I do know his Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl winning team had 9 defensive touchdowns, and he said it before that. So maybe there's something to it. But for me, it boils down to a super easy scenario. We both agree Dak Prescott is an extremely more talented quarterback right now than Jalen Hurts. If you switched quarterbacks in this game, I still take the Cowboys because I think Hurts has way more weapons than Dak would while he's running for his life in Philly. So I think it's an easy thing to say is if they have a better quarterback and a better team, odds are you win.
Yeah, and they have a better O-line. They have a better O-line.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If you switch quarterbacks, you switch quarterbacks, definitely. You still probably take the Cowboys.
Yeah, definitely. Also, both of our running backs I would take over the Philly running back. Like, we have 2 running backs that I would take over Philly's running back. They can attack you in so many different ways. They can kind of dice you up however they want to dice you up. And Philly have surprised me at how close their games have been this season. Well, how amazing they were. The Falcons, they kept it to the 49ers. So well done, Philly. But this might be a step too far.
Well, quick before we move on, you could tell Pollard to quit putting up 20-some fantasy points while he's on my bench and then not do nothing when he's in a game for me. But, okay, other than that, we'll move on to the Tampa Bay versus Rams game. I think this game is going to be really fun to watch. This is one of the more games I'm more excited about.
Yeah.
I did kind of waver on this game a little bit, going back and forth when I was deciding who I wanted. But just because the way Tom Brady – and that offense is clicking, I'm going with Tampa, but this would be one I'm not shocked if I lost.
I put the line in for a B and an R and didn't decide until I wrote it down just now. And I've put the Rams for the simple reason of the Bucs have played the 2 worst passing defenses last season. The Cowboys are the worst in franchise history. The Falcons were the worst passing defense of all time last year, and they've put up big numbers against them. The Rams are possibly the best passing defense, arguably the best passing defense in the league, and they now have a quarterback that can spread the field as well as Sean McVay's system and things like that. When the Bucs are a bit beaten up in their secondary, they're struggling with injuries, especially in the secondary right now. So this game's going to be won and lost as to whose secondary plays better. But obviously, don't count against Thomas Edward, Patrick Brady.
Well, to go to your point of the Rams, it's also in LA, which is a long travel for Tampa. It's across the country. That always means something. People don't like a lot of people don't think of that, but that's a huge thing. So that goes to your point too. I do know though, Tom Brady said before the year he was asked, and he said he would give up 2 of his rings to get that undefeated season.
Yeah.
So I think they won.
They're in for this undefeated season. I think this is their game, though. Like at the start of the year, I said this is the game that they'll lose. They've got New England coming up this year. It's a horrible time change. It's not a good matchup for them. When you look at as matchups go, it's just not that good a matchup for them because their run game isn't unstoppable. Like the part of their offense, it's not weak. Like I'm not saying that, but it's not unstoppable. And when you have Aaron Donald, who's an amazing run defense kind of player who can just plug up the gap up the middle, then everything else can be set up to stop the pass behind. Where you have Jalen Ramsey fishing around and locking down Mike Evans or whoever he decides to lock down. But obviously, they have so many weapons that you can't lock them down forever. So then it comes down onto Matthew Stafford, who's going to have to play out of his skin to beat them. But luckily for the Rams, I'm not biased at all in this situation, but luckily for the Rams, the Tampa Bay secondary is incredibly beaten up. It's pretty badly bruised and beaten up, and they have weapons in people like Cooper Kupp, and then they have Matthew Stafford, who's started off the season well.
Yeah, and to add on to your point on the time difference, that's 3 hours, okay? And you and I are 6 hours, so sometimes it becomes an issue trying to figure out times. But we're 3,700 miles away from each other, you and I.
Yeah.
Whereas Tampa and LA are like 1,500 miles, and there's still 3 hour difference. You know what I mean? It's a really weird, like, it's a big time jump if you think about it when an East Coast team goes to the West Coast or vice versa.
Yeah, you can sometimes tell in like differences in energy in our videos how difficult it is for the person who's waking up at the trickier time to do videos and stuff like that. Imagine, so we're just sat in our chairs talking about something that we love, right. But sometimes it's like, like I've had to wake up at 4 a.m, 5 a.m to do videos with you. You've had to wake up at like 6, 7 because it's daytime for me, and that's the only time that the person that we're talking to is free and that kind of thing. You can tell the difference in energy and stuff like that. Now, imagine having to go and get beaten up when you're actually 3 hours behind. So it is difficult. It is harder than people think, but they're professional sports players at the end of the day. But in a game where it's going to come down to minute details, that is a tick in favor of the Rams. But Tampa have Tom Brady and an amazing offense. Really exciting. I'm very, very excited for that one. I'll be staying up to watch that one.
This weekend of football is going to be really good. I'm excited. And now watch.
Fantastic.
Now that I said that, it'll suck, right? Every game will be a blowout or whatever.
Hey, defensive tussles are just as good. Just as good.
Well, I like defensive football. So on to the VikingsHawks. I'm just going to be quick on this one, Maddie. I'm picking the Vikings because I'm always picking the Vikings.
I've got the Vikings for this one.
The Hawks got our number at times. This game makes me nervous. Are we good enough to beat them? Yes. Can you shut down TJ or can you shut down Lockett? You better. I'm more scared of him than Metcalf. The way he's been playing this year is insane.
Yeah, so it's just the way that the Seahawks' new offense looks really good. Like we were all worried about them bringing in their new offense when that was the thing that was kind of ticking. It was their defense that was a bit rough last season. But they've come in and they've been really good. It looks really different to previous Hawks offenses. The Vikings have fantastic defensive weapons and experience in the secondary that should be enough to take care of them. Russell Wilson is obviously incredible, but what the Vikings have that the Seahawks don't is Cook, who can run the ball. And that is the Seahawks' weakness. We saw it last week or this week as we're recording, but we saw it in week 2, where they just let me check everything. Yeah. We saw it in week 2 where they got beat by the Titans. Henry came back and he's put his crown back on. And you guys have Dalvin Cook, who's about the same standard as Henry as well, and he'll get his rushing boots on. It's the Seahawks' weakness, and it always has been. Keep Russell Wilson on the sideline, and you can beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, I hope you're right. This game makes me nervous. You go 0-3. That's pretty much the season.
That's another reason why I've got the Vikings winning. I can't see them going 0-3.
I need the Vikings to at least make the playoffs or a lot of stupid Vikings fans are going to get what they want, and Zimmer's going to get fired, and we're going to have to start all over again. And we don't know if he'll. And if you listen to players talk, they like him. They genuinely like him because he lets them pick on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got a good relationship. When you hear players say, "Oh yeah, I pick on Zim all the time," you know that's a good relationship when your coach lets you do that.
Yeah, and it's you guys could be 2-0 as well as 0-2. It's not like you're the Falcons. It's not like you're the Falcons who's been absolutely shot on 0-2. Like, it should be 1-1 at least. It should be 1-1 at least.
I'm just worried about losing my coach at this point, but it is what it is. And we'll move on to a former Viking coach, and Kevin Stefanski with the Bears versus the Browns. I got the Browns winning this game. I got them winning it by a lot. And here's why. Because I think they can score on that Bears defense. And when I say a lot, I mean like 11 or more. Okay? Because this is the NFL. More. Yeah. This is the NFL. Anything like, you know what? I'm not talking 21 or 40, but not like a college game. But I do think that those defensive coaches for the Browns are going to make Justin Fields work. I can't see the Bears moving the football. And if you can't move the football against a team with as many weapons or as many ways to dice you up as the Browns, they're eventually going to score points on you. I don't see them winning it. They haven't. I want them to show to me how good they are. I want them to show to me that they're not just Cleveland, but they've looked into loads of good players. I want them to show me that this is their organization now. This is how they take care of business. Like, they don't just scrape past the Texans. And it was kind of scraping past the Texans. There was times where it looked difficult for them. And the Bears are better defense than the Texans, but they also really can't move the ball at the minute. And Justin Fields is going to have to. I think Justin Fields is going to be a really good quarterback in this league. I just think he's in a really garbage situation right now, and he's going to really have to play out of his skin to move the ball anywhere at all. And hopefully, for a good game's sake, he does move the ball. But I'm more on the side with you and see it being a Browns win by a decent margin, but at times looking like it's going to be close until the Bears defense is blown off the field by how often they've had to be defended. And that Browns offense is going to spread them out because OBJ is back.
Yeah. As long as Baker Mayfield isn't doing what he was doing a couple of seasons ago and just throwing it at OBJ, but I think Kevin Stefanski's kind of being out of him, and the amount of injuries that OBJ's had has kind of brought him down a peg or two, so he's not requesting as many targets and that kind of stuff. So hopefully it'll be a close game, but I can't see it being too close of a game either.
And so moving on to the next game we have on the list here, and I don't know why the NFL schedulers do this, but Thursday night football, Panthers Texans, a game nobody but the fans of those two teams want to see.
Yeah, I'll watch the 40 minutes the next day because that's our due diligence. That's how
I'll watch it because I'll watch anybody play football, but it ain't my pick for a Thursday night game.
That's kind of what we want our job to be. So it's good that we show due diligence when we're doing it and we watch every single game. I watch at least the highlights most of the time, the 40 minutes of every single game. But this one's going to be a struggle.
Hey, before you give me your pick, I'm going to swami this one. And my psychic abilities tell me you're picking the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers are probably
Me too.
The diehard team to be playoff underdogs this season. After seeing them play, I wasn't that confident when we were doing our preseason stuff, but after seeing Matt Rule and what he's doing with Sam Darnold, isn't Tyrod Taylor injured? Did I see that anywhere, or is that? Yeah, they've got no chance, the Texans, unfortunately, because Davis Mills
is starting. Yeah,
he didn't look good in that game against the Browns.
Well, no, we talked about this before the draft. Even though I like this kid a lot, a couple years, not one. Like, he was a developmental guy.
Yeah.
So,
Which is why it was so stupid that they picked him when they picked him, because they need to get better so quickly. And they picked the guys. He looks like he's going to take 1 or 2 years to be ready, but he could show us up like with a week of fully getting those first team reps and Tyrod Taylor explaining everything to him. He could throw a few darts, but probably not enough to beat what looks like a solid Panthers team. Really solid Panthers team. Really, really good.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to say on that game, so I'll just keep the train moving. And to the next game, Colts Titans. And the truth of this is, with Carson Wentz having 2 sprained ankles right now, okay, you need to sit this guy, and this is why. If he plays 70% of the snaps for games, they have to give up a first-round pick, which is going to be a very low first-round pick it's starting to look like. So you need to sit Carson Wentz, so you give up a second for the guy instead of a first, only because of his injury. The Tennessee Titans are going to walk you in this game with or without Wentz because he's injured. So just sit this guy for about 3 or 4 games and save yourself a draft pick.
Yeah, of course. And this is the perfect time to sit him as well. It looks like they're going to struggle to. They're going to definitely struggle to do anything in the playoffs if they get there, and they're going to struggle to get to the playoffs. Is how it kind of looks. Carson Wentz is absolutely fearless, and I have so much more respect for him, but I wish he was just a bit more of a professional about it, like it was what Pat McAfee was saying, wasn't it?
Him and Tyrod Taylor, the 2 most unlucky quarterbacks.
Tyrod Taylor's different. Tyrod Taylor doesn't necessarily put himself in harm's way that often.
Right. But
apart from playing on teams with terrible O-lines. But yeah, Carson Wentz just puts himself in stupid positions that a quarterback shouldn't be in, especially an injury-prone quarterback shouldn't be in. And I like the way he plays the game, like he plays it solid, but he needs to be sat just for 3 weeks, may as well. And then you don't have to give up the first-round pick, so you can help him out with weapons next season. He's shown enough talent this season to show that he's got it still. It was just Philly, but then he's also shown that it wasn't just Philly that was making him reckless with the ball and with his own body as well. So if he sorts that out, sits in rooms, sits in psychology stuff, saying you don't have to win every battle, just take the loss. Like, it's fine. We won't hate you for it. And then the Colts have got a good team that they can build around him. It's kind of a decent fit by what it looks like, but it's not their season. It hasn't been the Colts season since they started, has it? They've been really unlucky. And the Titans look like they got it clicking last week against the Seahawks, and that run game is fierce and all of that kind of stuff. Their defense worries me a little bit.
Well, on to another game of the week, the Garbage Bowl. Will the 0-2 Falcons or the 0-2 Giants win this exciting battle of attrition? I got the Falcons winning. And I think both teams are garbage. I just think the Falcons are less garbage.
I've got the Falcons winning as well, due to the fact that their problem has been everybody's just passing on them and destroying them with the passing game. But the Giants can't keep people out of the backfield for long enough to be able to throw the ball. So that kind of nullifies their one weakness, I guess. The Giants on paper have a better roster. It's just where they fall down is such a terrible place to fall down with their O-line. And I think this is the game where Kyle Pitts is going to announce himself to everyone. I think this is the game. I'm praying that this is the game he's going to really take off, and I've got a Falcons win as well on that one.
Yeah, I like Matt Ryan better than Danny Dimes. I like the weapons on Atlanta with Matt Ryan. And I got zero faith in what's going on in the Giants locker room right now.
Yeah, Joe Judge hasn't done the best job ever. It has to be said.
All right. I don't even think more needs to be said about that game. So We'll go Chargers-Chiefs, which I'm going to have a lot of fun watching. But again, I think this is a game by the end of it, the Chiefs pull away.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs pull away in this one. I think we're going to see a lot of absolute bullets thrown in this one, absolute darts all over the field, crazy throws. But the Chargers just have a problem getting over the line. They give away penalties when they eventually get it over the line. And they just have a genuine problem finishing it off every single time. And it's starting to get to less of, oh, it's bad luck, they've got loads of penalties and that kind of thing, or a throw didn't fall in the right guy's hands and that kind of stuff, to it's systematic. Like what's going on there that means they can't get it over the line, and the Chiefs can get the ball over the line. They score a lot of points.
Yeah, and we're both fans of Justin Herbert. We're both like, I mean,
love him.
Can we argue Darwin James is one of the greatest safeties in football? Like, I mean, they got talent, and I think they're an up-and-coming team. I really do. I just think you're hitting a buzzsaw on the Chiefs. And I know the Chiefs lost to the Ravens, and I've been seeing crazy shit online. You guys stop it. They're still the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs, it's going to be, I think it might be a high-scoring game, even though I said that stuff about them not getting over the line. But the Chiefs' defense is where they're weakest. Definitely. But I just don't trust the Chargers to... Yeah, they have Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. I just don't trust the Chargers to be able to take advantage of whatever they're given by that defense. And that defense is good enough. Like, they've got enough going on to do... And Honey Badger in the backfield looked like where he's back, and he looked awesome, got 2 picks. That's the kind of guy you don't want to be running into as a second-year quarterback trying to pull your team through a game.
I agree. And the only last thing I'll say on them is the Chargers need new ownership. They need to, like, the NFL needs to get the ownership.
Some sort of culture change, just anything they need to establish that they're now expected to win every single game. That's what they need to establish in that locker room. And it feels like they haven't got that. Like, I felt at no point, no matter how close it was, I felt the Cowboys are going to win this game just because of the culture stuff. Like, I wasn't really that stressed. I just felt like the Cowboys are going to win this game. And that's not saying the Cowboys have an amazing culture. It's the Chargers always find a way to mess themselves over.
And I agree with you. And I think part of what brings down the culture is if you're a player, it sucks that every time you're being interviewed, you get asked, so what's it like to play for a team where your owners are going bankrupt and they're scumbags?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what they say. I don't know enough about the family. I'm just saying this is the kind of stuff these players have to answer, and it's got to suck culture-wise. They could be the best people in the world, but if you're getting asked these types of questions, you got to at some point as a player go, dude, I don't care about the ownership.
Yeah, and they don't, like, the owners don't want to. They don't want to own a football team. It's just their only valuable asset left. They've lost all of their assets, and this is their one valuable asset left. They didn't have to pay that much for Sapphire Stadium, but Sapphire Stadium is going to make them a lot of money because the Rams footed a lot of the bill for that, as well as Jerry Jones footed a decent amount of the bill, is what I'm hearing as well, in that stadium. So yeah. They need to find a way to get rid of their ownership, find a way to change the culture and just become a winning team. But the Chiefs are a winning team with a culture where they should win every single game. Patrick Mahomes is fantastic, and we don't really need to talk about how amazing the Chiefs are anymore. When we analyze the Chiefs, you only analyze the team that the Chiefs are playing and how they can possibly take on this juggernaut. So sorry, any Kansas City fans that are listening out there, for our analytics, there's not a lot of you anyway, so that's okay. But yeah, that's the reason we don't talk about the Chiefs when we're talking about Chiefs games.
Well, onto a game that I did not think would give me any trouble picking, but it did. Bengals Steelers. But what it came down to me for was because I think the Bengals are a little bit better than people think, and I don't think the Steelers are as good as people think. Some of the people think, and so it boiled down to me. I think it's going to, for the Bengals, the problem's going to be is you're almost going to run into the exact same issue ran into the Bears with last week. And so I think you're going to have kind of the same outcome of that game.
Yeah, I've picked the Bengals for this one, but I understand where you're coming from.
I almost did.
For the amount of times that we shouted offensive line down the microphone, every single time we talk about the Bengals in offseason, it was offensive line, offensive line. And we didn't hate their Jamar Chase pick. Like, I don't hate the pick. He looks like a good weapon. Like, he looked like a good weapon in week 1. So I don't hate the pick. It's just, you can't throw the ball to Jamar Chase if Joe Burrow is running for his life the entire time. So I can see why you've done it. But the reason that I've picked the Bengals over the Steelers is because the Bengals can move the ball. They've shown they can move the ball. And I'm not sure the Steelers really can. Like, the reason that they beat the Bills was because they blocked a punt and got a touchdown from it. Their defense played absolutely lights out, and that's basically it. So if the Bengals give them a defensive touchdown, then yeah, the Steelers are going to win that game. But the Bengals are more likely to move the ball than the Steelers with the weapons that have been provided to each quarterback.
I think the Steelers line gets after him. I think Joe Burrow is running, and they better pray TJ Watt doesn't play.
Yeah, that could be a genuine issue. It just looks like the Bengals have got some semblance of a run game as well. Like, they've got some form of a run game. Mixon looks good. Yeah, Mixon's a good running back. Obviously, there's no offensive line to block for the poor guy, but he can kind of take it on. So, but the Steelers, even with Najee Harris in the backfield, can't run the ball by the look of it. And the Bengals, they were so pumped up last season when they played against the Steelers. Like they're going to come that pumped up again. And I think they're going to win this one.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that would just mean that the Steelers, okay, people think the Steelers are better than I do. And if the Bengals win, it means I was wrong on how good the Steelers are too. So that might be something really hard for the Yinzers in Pittsburgh to really wrap their head around if that happens. But we'll see.
Yeah.
On to a game that I think is going to end up as in a rout. I think Ravens, Lions, sorry, Lions. I think you're going to lose by 10 to 14 points.
Yeah,
and
that's not going to be a good one.
It's just a bad matchup. It's a really bad matchup for the Lions, the way that the Ravens play. And I know that everybody's like, the Ravens have a ton of people hurt on defense. Yeah, but if they can play that good against the Chiefs, then you really think that they're not going to be able to hold up against the Lions? I don't know.
The Ravens being hurt on defense is fine. The places where they're hurt on defense, the Lions can't get the ball to because they can't throw the ball too far. Like, Jared Goff has played decent. Like, he's played solid foot, like, obviously for a couple of picks, but that was when he was trying to make plays when they're playing from behind. You can kind of expect that from him. Jared Goff's played decent football. Their offense has looked better than a lot of people thought it would have. But where the Ravens are injured is in the secondary, and the Lions' strongest part of their game is running the ball. So they can't capitalize on that weakness. And also on the other side, one team's got Lamar Jackson and one team's got Jared Goff. So that's going to be that. He's just so dynamic that he's so difficult to stop unless you have an abundance of playmakers to stop him on defense. It's like, you've got to have, like, if the Cowboys played Lamar Jackson, if they had a secondary, then I'd be like, okay, because they've got playmakers who can keep up with Lamar Jackson in the linebacker core. They've got, like, Micah Parsons is a great person to spy Lamar Jackson with. But with Detroit, they don't have that player. Like, I can't see that player, and they also don't have a secondary. The Cowboys can't take care of Lamar Jackson, by the way, because they don't have a secondary, so he can just throw the ball instead. But the Lions don't have a secondary, and they don't really have that player to keep up with him. So it's going to be difficult for them to hold on to the tails of the Ravens, and then once they get behind, they can't throw the ball. So it's just going to be a difficult matchup altogether, really.
Yeah, and it's a lot to do with that the Ravens already have the culture that Dan Campbell's striving for, which it's a work in progress. Both of us are a fan of what he's doing. You're just not there yet. So
yeah,
that's what it is.
Like, I like the Lions this season. I'm enjoying watching their progress as a team, but the Ravens are already really fucking good. So, so you're going to struggle.
A game I'm really excited about, oddly, because I'm not a fan of either team, but Saints Patriots. I'm excited to see this game. I think if Jameis can play a mistake-free game, the Saints win, but I still have the Patriots winning this game because I think it's a battle of two coaches, and I think that Belichick at some point will confuse Jameis.
Yeah, I think Belichick strives on taking on quarterbacks like Jameis Winston, so I've got the Pats winning this game as well. Belichick loves playing against quarterback. Like you saw, Zach Wilson, obviously rookie, but takes risks. And Belichick always makes it look like the risk is there for you to take, go for it, but actually then shuts it down. It's gone. They have a pick. That's how he operates in his defense. Like they play hard up front, and then they play clever in the secondary to make quarterbacks think into throwing risky balls that they don't need to throw. And Jameis Winston, no matter how much laser eye surgery he's got, his instinct is to throw that dangerous ball like straight away. And I love him for it. I think that's a really good way to play, but not against Bill Belichick. The Saints haven't got the run game established yet, as far as I can see this season. Now Alvin Kamara will come out and run for 100 yards, 200 yards, whatever. And I hope he does. I hope he gets his season going. On the Pats, Mac Jones looks like a perfect fit for them in what they're trying to do this season. And yeah.
Well, they're a defensive team too. That's their strength. Yeah. And so I think they're going to cause some problems. And at some point, Jameis is going to make a mistake. If Jameis can play mistake-free football, the Saints have a shot at winning this. I just don't think that's going to happen with a Belichick defense.
Yeah, and the Saints defense isn't incredible. Just Green Bay played shockingly first up, whereas the Panthers played well and put points on them. So and the Pats are ticking in offense, like they know their roles. They're not going to put 30 points up on a team every week in, week out, but they know their roles so well that they can take you on enough for their defense just to come into action. And the Saints, we've said it before, we'll say it again. This is a year where they've got talent on their roster, but it's a rebuilding year for me to kick on for the next. They'll kick on in 2 years, 2 years time, when they've got out of cap hell, when they've got their draft picks and everything back ready to go. And I won't be surprised if they play really well and lose, but the Pats are going to win that game for me.
All right. And then on to the Cardinals Jags. And I'll just say Cardinals win. And by the fourth quarter, backups are playing.
Yeah, Cardinals win. Jags fans don't turn up. You never really turn up anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, Jags fans don't go to that game. It's just going to be upsetting for you to watch. Really, just the way that Kyler Murray plays, just a freak. You can't play against that guy. He's Lamar Jackson, but more consistent throwing the ball, not quite as good as running. That's basically where I see him.
Yep, I just feel like I said, backups playing in the fourth quarter. Then on to Washington, Buffalo. I'm excited to watch this game. I do have Buffalo winning, but I am excited to see how Taylor Heineke plays, how the Washington football team plays. I think it'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I've got the Bills winning that one, but not by as much as you would have thought last season. The NFC
I don't think it'll be a blowout.
Yeah, the top two NFC East teams, the Cowboys and the Washington football team, can beat any team any given Sunday, more than what a lot of teams can say that are in that lower echelon of teams. They're a bad matchup for the Bills, and they're unfortunate that they're coming in a bit of a run of form on their offense, and Taylor Heineke might play lights out, but the Bills look like they've fixed their problem at defensive line. They look like they can get after people, and their offense started to really tick against Miami, who's a really, really good defensive team. Brian Flores is possibly one of the best defensive coaches in the league, and they really started taking against them. So Bills win for me. Tough fought game. and they'll keep it in the trenches. The football team will keep it in the trenches as much as they can, and the Bills are ready to scrap in the trenches this year more than they have in other years.
I think you said that beautifully, and I got nothing to add. So we'll go on to the Jets Broncos, and I want to say to Jets fans, like, I know it was rough last week. I know that you're looking at Zach Wilson like, what the hell? Give the kid some time. He's on a team that's never really been good. He's on a team, well, for years. He's on a team with a rookie coach. He's a rookie quarterback. They're building something there. And poor Jets fans, take a deep breath, because it's going to be a rough one this week too, because there's a handful of coaches in this league that you do not want to play if you're a rookie quarterback. Belichick, Fangio, Zimmer, I think I mean, even Robert Saleh, when he was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, you don't want to see these guys when you're a rookie quarterback. They're just going to confuse you into making mistakes. But if the growing pains are good, like Jets, own that. That's some good growing pains.
At least he's confident enough to throw that ball. I would rather have him throwing that ball and going with his instinct and knowing he can do that than holding it in when you're a losing team. It's not if Mac Jones went out and started throwing in those balls in a team where that's not the way that they're going to win. The only way the Jets are going to win is if Zach Wilson throws 5 touchdowns for 400, 500 yards and stuff like that. So he's got to take those risks for you guys to win the game. Now, you might want him to just make him not look too bad and not lose the game by as many points, but it doesn't matter how many points you win or lose by. It's a win or loss game, and their way to win the game is to just throw for 400, 500 yards and hope that the defense can do enough with that. The Broncos defense is playing really, really good football. I feel really like the Broncos are playing really, really well. Teddy Bridgewater just isn't getting in the way.
Yeah, he won't lose you the game ever. He's never going to be the reason you lose. He might not be the reason you win, but Teddy will never be the reason you lose.
They'll beat every single team that they should beat this year. Like, that's how I see it, because their defense is playing really, really well. I had them going 7-10 this year, and I just want to remind people that their ending kind of looks a bit rough, like towards the end. They're in a difficult division. That's why they're going 7-10. It's not because they're a bad football team. And this is a good matchup for them as well with a rookie quarterback. And the Broncos are going to be winning this game.
Well, on to the last game of the week, Dolphins Raiders, and to channel my inner Chris Berman, the Raiders. Like, that's it. The Raiders win. Tua, even if he plays, that hit he took was brutal. His ribs got nuked. There's cartilage damage. I know they'll probably shoot him up and throw him in there. But the Raiders are playing good. It's still early in the season. Raiders play good early season. Derek Carr is playing at I'm not saying he is a top 5 guy, but he's playing at that level in the first 2 games.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually got the Dolphins written down here, and I went to go cross it out, but I'm going with my gut. On this one.
Really?
The Raiders are a team that I'm on the Raiders bandwagon. They're better than I thought they were going to be. I really, really like them. But the Dolphins are 0-2, and they're a much better football team than 0-2. And Brian Flores is not going to let the fact that they've just been destroyed by the Bills slide. They've been bollocked this week. They're in so much trouble. They're going to come back and they want to kill people. And the Raiders' offensive line is garbage. Derek Carr is playing well in spite of the offensive line. It's not because of the offensive line. And I think people have kind of seen the Raiders have caught people by surprise by the fact that they have weapons and that Derek Carr's for it. But it's a very simple game plan of short. There's Henry Ruggs over the top. There you go.
Okay. I don't know if this matters to you, but that's another one that's a 3-hour time difference.
Yeah. It
that doesn't always matter. I just thought
it doesn't 100% matter to me in terms of that kind of stuff. I think it really matters in those close games. And at the start of the season, this shouldn't be a close game. This, like when we were looking at preseason, like the Raiders are just playing hot, which the Raiders do. But when you look at their rosters still, they're not close. Like that, it shouldn't be this close. Tua has been really disappointing so far this year. I thought with the weapons around him, he'd play a lot better. And with the offensive line that he stood behind, he'd play a lot better. And with a broken rib, you can't see him playing that much better. I've got this as a much lower scoring game than people would have thought a couple of weeks ago. And I've got the Dolphins kind of winning it out in a low scoring game just because I think like the Raiders will go cold. Like I can't trust the Raiders to just stay as hot as they are. And this
I
is
like
a team
the Raiders
at the start
skill
of the season they should
positions,
beat
though. I love the Raiders skill positions.
Yeah,
I
agree
quarterback. I like the Raiders quarterback better than the Dolphins quarterback. I like the Raiders receiving core better than the Dolphins receiving core. I like the Raiders running backs better than the. So that's for me where.
Yeah, it's just the Miami defense is so much better.
I agree.
Is so much better, and the Raiders offensive line can't keep on holding up. They've got 3 backups in this offensive line now, on top of the fact that they got rid of everybody that was decent in the offseason. And their offense is very Kansas City build, like, but without the fact that Kansas City now have a really good offensive line. So Darren Waller is there, Travis Kelce, Henry Ruggs is there, Tyreek Hill. So they're good. Like the Raiders are good, but in their fundamental places where a team like the Dolphins thrive in the fundamentals, this is where they play good in fundamental play, is going to go against them. Look, it's going to be a close game. I'm not 100% confident. I think I'm kind of just trying to talk myself in to my pick, if I'm being honest. But, you know,
all right.
I think it'll be a closer game than other people think it will be with the Raiders' hot streak.
All right. And right now, Maddie, today I'm offering a challenge that you have some weeks to think about. Okay?
Okay.
And all I want to say is, barring injury to one of our best players on each team, I will bet you 10 push-ups that you have to do live on Yankee and the Brit, or I have to do on a live stream for the Viking Cowboy game.
Okay. What week's that again? When are we playing each other?
It's middle of the season, but I thought I'd throw that out there now.
We should have our best players back by then.
No, I'm saying like if Dak gets hurt, God forbid, or Kirk gets hurt, or Cook, then we can alter something. Maybe we throw some points in there, depending on what happens.
I'm throwing
a bet out to you right now. We're gonna make a bet, push-ups live on Yankee and the Brit. What do you think?
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that bet, whatever. And also, I think we should calculate our picks at the end of the year and see who's winning that, and then we'll think of some sort of challenge at the end that the other person has to commit. The loser has to complete. Like I went 14-2 in week 1 in my picks, which I'm very, very happy with. I'm just going to let everybody know that who's still here. I went 14-2, so you can listen to me for any bets that you want by the look of it, So we'll calculate them at the end of the year and we'll see who's doing well.
Yes, and just to let everybody know, this little baby staying right here. Right here.
I keep on flipping from 2-0 to 1-1. I'm back to 1-1 again. Team Davis is taking the win from me, even though I beat him fair and square. I don't understand what's going on. The ESPN are having me over. I'm 2-0 as well, but for some reason
I'll send a message and find out what's going on. When I looked last night, you had the win again, so something weird's going on.
Crazy.
On adjustments or something.
Team Davis is hacking me, man. He's hacking.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, that's our preview of week 3. You can watch the games and see if we were right or wrong. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.